another Sunday in the books of the NFL season, but this Sunday a little different. Of course, the Jaguars on the bye week, so no game today. So this is always a great time, the bye week, to kind of take the temperature of the fan base and see how, well, everybody's feeling good or bad right now, and a lot more people feeling a little bit negative than positive. So I've decided to take to online and ask folks how they were feeling and get some responses. And we got a handful. We got to start things off with Eric Dunn, our friend. And he just replied simply with a picture that says he was marked safe from Jaguars football for today, which is fair enough. There's a lot of people that have that exact same feeling out there. Now, check this one out from Adam. He said, they can't hurt me today. And for that, he's grateful, which is understandable. It has been that kind of season for the Jaguars. It's been bad week after week, and at times you're kind of watching those games and you're slugging through them, and you know, you get yourself invested, you get hope, and the Jaguars drop another one-score game, or they have the worst loss in franchise history like they did last week against the Lions. All right, let's go to another one here. This one came with a picture and something to say. This is Duuuval, VA, and he says, everyone is mad at Shad for not firing everyone, but really, he's just guaranteeing the #1 overall pick, which, see, that's putting some positive thought to it. I know people were holding out hope for change this week. They were holding out hope that Shad was going to rattle the cage and heads were going to roll, but that never really felt like Shad's way. That felt like what fans wanted, but that didn't feel like Shad's way of doing things. Now, locking up the #1 overall draft pick, we'll see how it goes for the Jaguars. Again, this would be the third time in the last 5 years that they have the top pick. They've landed Trayvon Walker, Trevor Lawrence with the last two. A lot of people hoping for maybe a Travis Hunter this go-around. We'll see how things shake out as they continue through the season and head toward April. But who knows? Hey, #1 draft pick is at least something to be a little bit excited about. How about Trevorville? He said today is the exact same as previous weeks. No W expected, so it's pretty much a push. That's a fair point, because the Jaguars didn't lose today, but they also didn't win, which is about the same as what you've seen most of the season. So it is kind of just a little bit more of the same. There's nothing for fans to get excited about. You know, it's bad when you say firings would get people's juices flowing and get the excitement back, but that's what people would have considered a W. Jaguars didn't give you that this week, so kind of just more of the same. All right, Reformed Gamer 3 said we lost on the bye with no moves being made, regardless of whether it would change anything now. It shows that they're, and I think he continued to say something like committed to losing. Look, no changes being made, to me, isn't the end of the world. I'm kind of a process person, and I think that changes for the sake of changes right now, it doesn't really change the outcome of anything, if that makes sense. So moving on from Doug, what does that change? Nothing. Overall, you still got plenty of season left to play. There's no interim head coach on the roster that you'd be excited to see leading the team, right? And moving on from Trent Baalke right now, besides guaranteeing you that those guys wouldn't be back next season, honestly doesn't change a whole lot, except for you know that they're gone. So why not just wait until the season's over? The biggest thing for me, if somehow the report came out that Shad Khan had made the decision that he wasn't hiring an executive vice president of football operations, the former Tom Coughlin position, the football czar type of job, then I'd get concerned. That's when I'd press the panic button. But as of right now, since nothing's happened, I'm not that concerned. Because if he is going to bring in that EVP, that former Tom Coughlin position, that guy that would head football operations, to me, you make that hire before you make a move with Doug or Trent. You go along with the process. So I wouldn't say it's an L, but just go along with the process here. All right, let's see what else we got. This one came from Vegas Jags fan. He said, we already lost the bye week by not firing anyone. I get it. Look, people want to change, and you haven't seen it, so there's frustration, especially with the record, with the way it's looked out on the field. Trust me, I get it, but at some point, maybe patience, just a little patience, which is tough to tell Jags fans. I know it, because you've been patient for a long time. All right, chip off the old block. He said, I'm not sure a complete change is going to happen. Doug might be gone, but Trent is like a roach. We just can't get rid of him. And you know what? That's a fair enough statement, because Trent has found a way to survive time after time after time. He survived Urban Meyer. He survived in San Francisco. Somehow, some way, Shad Khan likes the guy. He's kept him around this long. We'll see if Trent can survive this one. I have a feeling this time's going to end up being a little bit different when it's all said and done, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens there. All right, last one. It says, this is Nick. Nick says, I'm sitting quietly until the clock hits 0 on the season. I have no emotions left. I understand the feeling. I really do. It has been that kind of season, a draining kind of season for a lot of fans, just because of all the emotions. There were the expectations, the big paydays that were given out during the offseason, and then you get this out on the field. Not great. All right, I think we got actually one more that we want to go to, right? Let's see what we got. This one, here we go. This one's from B. With Balky and Doug still in place, I've thrown in the towel after 30 years. That one is tough to see, and what's bad is I've heard similar statements from a handful of people just being out and about around Jacksonville, that people are just frustrated overall with the history of this team. And I wanted to wrap up with that one to kind of lead to talk a little bit here, because overall, that frustration is this fan base showing that it cares. These are fans that have been here for 30 years. These are fans that are lifelong Jaguars fans. And there's frustration there because you've seen the disappointments along the way, right? You've seen the lows of Shad Khan's ownership, and he's gotten a lot of blowback this week through the media from the fan base because people wanted the change. People wanted to see Trent and Doug gone this week. But to me, I keep calling it blood for the sake of blood. People want to see change, so you want to see heads roll. You want to see Trent and Doug gone. Moving chairs on the Titanic while it's sinking doesn't change anything. The season's gone. I mean, at 2-9, the Jaguars could be eliminated from the playoff race as early as next week. Making changes now doesn't change anything, really. But you can make changes for next season. And part of that means that you got to start from the top and work down. Everybody needs to be in line. If everything's not in line, then you end up with what you have now, where you have guys that are on different wavelengths, believe in different things. He needs to start with an EVP. Start with a guy at the top that can help him. My mind, Tony Boselli, perfect guy for that job. You bring him in, and then you say, Tony, what do you want to do with that general manager? Not Trent? All right, that guy's gone. Go get you a new GM. Do the same thing for the head coach. Hey, Doug? Yeah? No? No? Okay. That guy's gone. And then now everybody's coming in step by step, and you have vertical alignment. And if you want to build a foundation for something that's going to stay and not something that's just a one-year fluke like what you've seen recently, 2017, 2022, things like that, if you're going to build a good foundation, you have to have vertical alignment and a shared vision, which means they got to do it with a process. I understand the need for change. I understand folks want to change, but remember, even if he fired Doug today, he couldn't start interviewing new head coaches today. NFL rules about that. He can start interviewing for an executive vice president of football operations right now if he wants to. Shad, I think that's what you should do, and I think you should start with Tony Boselli. Hey, we'll talk more about the Jaguars and what's coming your way and what you should expect the rest of the way for this season on the next episode of Teal the Show. We'll have Frank Frangie in the building for that one. That's coming your way at 11:20 tomorrow night right here on Channel 4 as we look ahead to the rest of the season. If you want more Jaguars content before, then make sure you're checking out that News 4 Jags podcast. New episodes come out all the time. You can track those down anywhere that you get your podcast, or just head over to news4jags.com and click on that handy-dandy sports page.